My name's Eric. I work the overnight shift at a 24-hour gas station just off the interstate. The kind of place truckers stop to grab coffee that tastes like burnt rubber and families with crying kids pull into because the next real town is 42 miles away. It's not glamorous, but it's quiet. Mostly. The graveyard shift runs from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. After midnight, it's usually just me, the buzz of fluorescent lights, and the hum of the soda machine that's been leaking syrup for the past 6 months. I used to bring books or stream videos, but lately, I've just been listening. Something about the silence after 2 a.m. changes things. Anyway, it started about 2 weeks ago. I was restocking gum near the register when a rusty old sedan pulled in. Late 90s, maybe a Corolla. Headlights barely working. It rolled up to pump 6 and stopped. No one got out. That happens sometimes. People pull in to take a nap or check directions. I kept an eye on it while pretending to wipe the counter. After 5 minutes, still no movement. So I stepped outside. The driver's window was down, but the car was empty. No keys in the ignition, no bags, no one in the back seat, just nothing. It was 1:47 a.m. I remember because I checked my watch twice. I walked around the car, called out a couple of times. Hey, you all right? Nothing. Eventually I shrugged it off. Figured someone ditched it, or maybe it broke down and they got picked up. Happens more than you'd think. I went back inside, jotted it in the shift log, and went about my night. By morning, the car was gone. Didn't even hear it leave. A few days later, around the same time, 1:40-ish, another vehicle pulls up to pump 6. This time, it's a black pickup, headlights off, engine idling. But again, no one gets out. I'm already suspicious, so I watch through the security monitors. 10 minutes pass, still no movement, so I step outside with my flashlight. Same thing. Empty, not a soul inside. Just the faint smell of motor oil and something else, sour, like rotten milk. I shine the light into the bed of the truck. Nothing. I look underneath. Nobody hiding. No footprints in the dusty gravel. But I swear, I felt watched. Like someone just ducked out of sight a second too soon. I didn't tell anyone this time. I just logged it, locked the front door, and stayed behind the counter till sunrise. Things got weirder the next night. I was sweeping near the soda fountain when the automatic chime dinged. I looked up, but no one had come in. I checked the monitor. No movement at the pumps. But when I panned the camera view toward pump 6, the feed glitched. It fuzzed out for 3 seconds, then came back. And the sedan, the same rusted out sedan from the first night, was back. Right there. Same spot. Pump 6. My stomach dropped. I ran to the window. Nothing. The pump was empty. Lot was clear, not even tire tracks. The pump itself, pump 6, was moving. The hose was gently swinging, like someone had just let it go. I walked out there, this time with the emergency flashlight and a wrench under my hoodie. I'm not a hero, but I didn't want to be caught off guard. The moment I stepped up to the pump, it stopped swinging. The screen on pump 6 blinked to life. $6.66. No one had authorized a payment. The register didn't ping, no card swipe, no sound, just $6.66, frozen. I reset the pump manually and hurried back inside. That was the first night I brought salt with me, just a pinch in my pocket. Call me paranoid, but something felt wrong. Then came last night. It was 2:03 a.m. I was pouring myself a stale cup of coffee when the lights above pump 6 blinked out. Just 6. Every other pump stayed lit. The monitors went black. I grabbed the flashlight and went outside again. This time, no car, no sound, but the pump was on. Hose lifted. $6.66 and something new. A receipt was printing. I watched it feed out slowly, the machine groaning like it hadn't been used in years. I pulled it out. The timestamp was correct. The name? Eric M. That's me. No credit card, no plate number, just my name. My hands went cold. I stumbled back, dropped the receipt, and looked around. Still no one. No wind, so no sound except the distant hum of the interstate and the buzzing sign that hadn't been updated since the 90s. I backed inside, locked the door, and rewound the camera feed. At 2:03 a.m., the screen flickered, just for a frame, and for one moment, in one angle, someone was standing at pump 6, facing the camera, wearing my jacket. Not like a similar jacket. My jacket. It had the rip on the shoulder I got during a bad shift change, the little oil stain near the elbow, same exact one. But that version of me wasn't holding the pump. He was looking straight into the camera, smiling, like he knew I was watching. I didn't go to work tonight, called in sick. Manager didn't even ask questions, said I sounded off. Maybe I did. But here's the thing, just a few minutes ago, I got a push notification from the station's app. We use it to track sales in real time. I still have it logged in. It said, Pump 6, fuel sale. 6, Derek M. 2, I'm home. Lights off, door locked, salt lines across every windowsill, but I just got a text from an unknown number. You're late for your shift. And suddenly, I'm not sure if I'm still the one who left the pump swinging last night, or if I'm already the replacement. The last stop. We had been driving for hours through an endless stretch of countryside, just rolling hills, thick woods, and narrow roads that twisted like they had no destination. The sun was beginning to dip low, throwing long shadows through the trees. Our car hummed along fine until the gaslight blinked on. Brian glanced over. We better find a station soon, he said. I nodded, tired and on edge from the long day, hoping we'd hit a proper gas station before dark. My name is Emily, and even though we had taken long road trips before, something about this one felt different, unsettling, like we had slipped into some in-between place, not quite on the map anymore. But we brushed it off, just fatigue, we figured. That's when we saw it, a dim orange glow just up ahead. It looked like a gas station, though it could have just as easily been a mirage. The building was small, sagging under the weight of time, with cracked paint clinging to its wooden walls. A sign above the building was missing most of its letters. Only the last 2 flickered weakly. As. The other bulbs were dead, leaving the rest of the word unreadable. A single ancient pump stood outside, lit by a buzzing floodlight that seemed one power surge away from giving up entirely. Brian slowed the car as we pulled in. Looks abandoned, he said, but I don't think we've got a choice. We stepped out into the cool evening air. The pump looked like it hadn't been used in decades. Its surface was covered in rust, with cobwebs stretching between the nozzle and the metal casing. I glanced toward the building, its windows clouded with grime, no open sign, no posted hours, just a faint sliver of light leaking out from behind the front door. Brian tried the pump anyway. No reaction, no hum of machinery, no numbers on the display, nothing. This thing's dead, he muttered, replacing the nozzle. We were about to get back in the car when the front door of the station creaked open slowly. The sound of old hinges straining echoed louder than it should have in the quiet evening. A figure stepped out, an older man, tall and pale, with deep lines carved into his face. He wore a faded flannel shirt tucked into jeans that were worn thin, and a rag hung from his back pocket. You folks need fuel? His voice was raspy, like it had been a while since he'd spoken to anyone. Yeah, Brian said, cautious. Pump doesn't seem to work. The man nodded once, slow and deliberate. Come inside. Got a can you can use. I hesitated, but Brian was already following him in. I didn't want to be alone, so I followed. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of dust and old oil. Shelves lined the walls, but they held little more than cracked jars, brittle paper maps, and things too covered in grime to identify. A single flickering bulb hung from the ceiling, swaying slightly even though there was no breeze. The man stepped behind the counter and reached down, pulling out a small metal jerry can. It looked old, but intact. This'll get you to the next town, he said. $10. Brian pulled out a bill and handed it over. The man didn't count it, just tucked it into a rusted cash drawer that looked like it hadn't been opened in years. Thank you, I said, hoping to sound polite. The man only stared. We filled the tank with the thick-smelling fuel. It had a strange metallic scent, not like any gas I'd smelled before, but the needle on the gauge moved, so we figured it worked. We didn't look back as we drove away. But 20 minutes down the road, the car started to shake. At first it was subtle, a vibration, then a knock from the engine. The gas light blinked back on. Brian cursed and tapped the dashboard. What the hell? The engine sputtered once, then again. The headlights flickered, then nothing. The car coasted to a stop on the side of the road. The silence that followed was total. No crickets, no rustling leaves, no distant hum of traffic. Just us and the dark. I pulled out my phone. No signal. Brian's had no bars either. That's when we heard it. A whisper, soft at first like the wind moving through tall grass, then clearer. Come back, come back. I spun around trying to pinpoint it. Brian looked at me, wide-eyed. Tell me you heard that. I did. It came again, louder, from behind us, from the direction of the gas station. We grabbed the flashlight from the glove box and started walking back. The darkness pressed in from all sides, and the beam from the light seemed weaker than usual. As we walked, I began to notice something terrifying. There were no landmarks, no road signs, no distant farmhouses, nothing we had passed earlier, just endless trees. And then, there it was. The gas station. Right where it shouldn't be. Same crooked sign, same pump, same dim light. But now the door was wide open and the man was standing in the doorway, waiting. Brian froze. How is that possible? We drove away from here. I took a step forward, gripping the flashlight tighter. What do you want? I called out. The man didn't move, but his voice carried across the lot like he was standing next to us. You took what wasn't yours. What are you talking about? Brian snapped. We paid you. The man smiled, not with what it cost. The bulb above the pump exploded, glass rained down, the pump sparked, and then Brian was gone. I didn't see him move, didn't hear a sound. 1 second he was next to me, the next nothing but a faint imprint in the dirt where he'd been standing. I screamed his name over and over, nothing. The man stood motionless. You're next, he said. I ran. I didn't look back. I didn't stop. Eventually I stumbled into a roadside diner, hysterical. They called the police. A search was launched, but they never found the gas station or Brian. Just me and the metal jerry can I somehow still held, its surface now etched with strange symbols that faintly glowed whenever I touched it. I've tried to get rid of it, burned it, threw it in the river. It always comes back. And now, every night at 3:03 a.m., I hear those same words through my bedroom wall. Come back. Come back. I took the graveyard shift at the Hollow Point gas station because it paid an extra $3.50 an hour, and I needed every cent. My rent was overdue, my credit cards were maxed, and I wasn't about to beg my sister for help again. It was one of those last resort jobs no one keeps for long. Remote enough that no one bothered you, but isolated enough that the silence got under your skin if you let it. The place had been there since the 70s, and it looked like no one had cleaned it since. The lights flickered when the wind picked up, the bathroom key was zip-tied to a plank of wood, and the security cameras only recorded in black and white. My first 3 weeks were uneventful. A few truckers, a lost tourist or two, and the occasional teenager trying to buy beer with a shaky fake ID. But then there was Thursday night, the one that stuck with me. It was around 2:14 a.m., quiet, dead quiet. I was sitting behind the counter thumbing through an old crossword book someone left behind when the bell above the front door dinged. I hadn't seen any headlights outside, and no car pulled up to the pumps. The guy who walked in was tall, maybe 6'4", dressed in a stained gray coat. I remember thinking it looked like he'd been walking for miles. He didn't browse or say anything, just made a slow beeline for the counter and placed a $20 bill in front of me. Pump 3, he muttered. I glanced out the window. Pump 3 was empty. You driving an invisible car? I asked, half joking. He didn't smile, didn't even blink, just stared at me like I was wasting his time. I cleared my throat. All right then. I hit the authorize button even though the screen outside didn't respond. He didn't go outside, just turned and walked into one of the aisles. No movement, just stood there staring at the dusty bags of chips like he forgot what food was. After a few minutes, I looked away to check the camera feed. Pump 3 still blank. When I looked back, the man was gone. I got up and checked the aisle. Empty. Bathroom door was open, and the back exit was still locked from the inside. There was nowhere else to go. Figuring he bailed, I pocketed the $20 and wrote it off. But when I checked the pump log, it showed someone had filled exactly 6.66 gallons. No car, no movement, just logged, like it happened. The next night, I kept the coffee pot full and stayed extra alert. That's when the girl came in. She couldn't have been older than 10, wearing pajamas and dragging a bunny plushie by the ear. Her feet were bare. No car, no parents, just the chime of the door and her tiny figure walking straight to the cooler. I stepped out from behind the counter. Hey, sweetie, are you okay? Where's your mom or dad? He didn't respond. Just opened the cooler and pulled out a chocolate milk. Walked up and placed it on the counter. I hesitated but scanned it. That'll be $2.50. She held out a $2 bill and 2 quarters. That's what made me pause. Who carries $2 bills anymore? As I reached to take the money, she stopped me and said, "Don't go near the tanks." Her voice was low, too calm. Before I could ask what she meant, she turned and walked out. I sprinted after her, but she was gone. And then the cameras glitched. All 4 screens flickered for half a second, and when they came back, there she was, standing at pump 3, staring directly into the camera. Only it wasn't the same girl. Same clothes, same plushie, but her eyes were solid black. No whites, just voids. The cameras blinked again, and she was gone. I went home that morning and didn't sleep. Spent the whole day reading up on missing kids, haunted places, anything that would explain what I saw. Nothing matched. When I got to work that night, there was a note waiting for me at the register. Just a receipt slip with a timestamp for 2:14 a.m., the same time the tall man had come in 2 nights before. In the customer name field, it read, "Returning." That's it. No purchase. No total. Just returning. At this point, I probably should have quit. But I didn't. I was broke, tired, and too curious. I needed answers more than I needed safety. So I waited. That night, I didn't stay behind the counter. I stood outside between pump 2 and pump 3, flashlight in hand, salt in my pocket because someone on a forum said it helps with spirits. It was 2:14 when the wind stopped. No breeze, no sound. Even the buzzing neon sign above the station went still. And then I heard it. Sloshing. Liquid. I turned toward the underground tank access behind pump 3. A wet, gurgling noise came from beneath the manhole cover, the kind of sound you hear when someone's choking underwater. I approached slowly, heart racing. That's when I noticed it. Small handprints on the cement. Dozens. Leading away from the tank lid and vanishing near the dumpsters. I was done. I ran back inside, locked the doors, and called my boss. When he picked up, I was breathless. "There's something wrong with this place, man. Something's happening at pump 3. He didn't ask for details, he just sighed. "Pump 3's been decommissioned for 2 years, Raymond." I blinked. "What?" "I've been logging sales on it all week. People keep asking for it." There was a pause on his end. "No, that pump's been dry since the accident." "What accident?" Another pause, longer this time. "Check the red folder under the register." I hung up and yanked open the drawer. Buried beneath paperwork and expired coupons was a red folder marked "Incident Closed." Inside was a faded police report. Pictures. Names. An old rusted sedan had ignited at pump 3 after a gas leak. The explosion killed a man and his daughter instantly. They were never able to determine the cause. Time of incident? 2:14 a.m. I flipped to the photos. There she was, the little girl. Same pajamas, same bunny. My stomach turned. But one photo made me freeze. The final one, a blurry security cam still. In the flames, standing at the edge of the screen, was another figure. Not the man, not the girl. It was me. Standing by the pump, looking directly at the camera, weeks before I started working there. That's when it hit me. I wasn't caught in the middle of something strange. I'd already been here. I wasn't living through a haunting. I was part of the cycle. And the worst part? I think I always knew.